Charles Spurgeon once said that depression is like a fog that descends. This prince of preachers who lived in the 1800s, he understood depression. He was afflicted with it often. And his description of a fog, I think, is very appropriate. In our first service, we have professional truck drivers who come, the Kaisers. And they'll tell you, as I'm sure those of us who've experienced it as well will tell you, that when you're in the middle of a fog, you can't see the beauty ahead. You forget the blessings that you just passed, and you lose any sense of bearing. That's depression. There's no beauty to life ahead. All the great blessings of the past are forgotten. And there's no sense of direction. You've lost your bearings in life. So the term fog is very appropriate. But why spiritual depression? Why not just depression? Well, when I was a teenager, I read a book by D. Martin Lloyd-Jones with the title Spiritual Depression. And I had the same question. Why did he title it Spiritual Depression? Why not just depression? Well, I read the book and found out that all depression has its root in the spiritual. I know that if your spouse abandoned you and you're here this morning and you're depressed, you think the root of that depression is that you're alone. But in reality, all depression has its root in the spiritual. If you lost your job as a man, I understand that there's a tendency to point to the loss of that job as the reason for depression. No. All depression has its root in the spiritual. Just as a tree limb is broken off of the trunk that brings life-giving sap, so too the fog of depression descends when we are often disconnected from God. Now, I'm not talking about salvation. I'm not talking about going to hell. I'm not talking about not having your sins forgiven. That's another time, another place, another message. I'm speaking to those of us who know Christ, who find the fog of depression descending. The root of it is a lack of connection to Christ.